If other people are afraid, I'm not afraid. I am only afraid of my Creator. Because I've seen whether you tell the lie, you tell the truth, the date of death, you can't adjust it either forward or backward. 8 years. So if we pass the rules that you must do 8 consecutive years before you can be Senate president, it means he has to lead by example by vacating. Because he's presiding without acquiring the appropriate qualification. But more offensive to me is that as leaders who are product of ballot, we mustn't make laws to perpetrate anyone. Senator David Mark had the honor and privilege of serving as Senate president for 8 years, not by playing with the rules. Those rules that enabled David Mark to preside for 8 years, what is wrong with them? Those rules that enabled this Senate president to contest for Senate presidency, what is wrong with them? Why changing it now? Because you think that next time, because last time, this rule of what term ranking, that's what you require. And it turned out to be the only one from the South, where it was zone 2. So now he feared that more senators will be eligible, which will broaden the competitive base. And now he wants to stroke it. Yes and no. The first thing is the rules of the Senate are binding on the Senate president, just like any other member of the Senate. And those rules says, don't take it from my mouth, you can get a copy and read it. It says, once a senator raised point of order, and in this case, I raised order 70, the Senate, the presiding officer, in this case the Senate president, is obliged by law, not by discretion, to allow me to read that point of order in relation to whatever we are discussing. If in his judgment, after reading it, he doesn't think that it has merit, he has the discretion and the power to rule the point of order out of order. But he cannot deny you the right to raise it. And you'll be witnesses to the practices here. Even that yesterday, the chief whip was trying to raise point of order. If you deny me day before yesterday, why are you doing this? And what is in this point of order? When you are dealing with important matters, I think Akpabio took advantage of that during the constitutional amendment. And it's order 70. What order 70 says? That to determine the decision of the Senate, you want to use on important matters the ayes and the nays, because that is open to abuse. So once you raise that order, the presiding officer has no discretion but to divide the House. Those who are for, like last time, they asked people to sit. Those who are for, those who are against, and then you count. It's transparent. Because I wanted Nigerians to know who are those senators who are making laws that are self-help, self-centered, and informed by what I consider to be a selfish interest. Because the ladder you use, you cannot turn around to want to destroy that ladder. Majority can have their way, but the law allows minority to have a say. And to my shock, the Senate president refused me the right to read that point of order. That was before they passed it. And my view is that because the rules were not properly passed, because he declined what he was obliged by law to admit, that is to say, to divide the House. So the nays and the ayes were his business. That was my position.
How many senators do you think?
Wait, it's not about what I think. Follow the procedure. The point I was making yesterday is that I wanted to draw his attention that once you didn't follow the procedure to make a law or to make a rule, you are putting something on nothing because the procedure is defective. That is the point I was trying to raise. And they will say I should correct, don't move emotion. Okay, let me correct to say that everything here is incorrect because they are not properly done. And now you switch off the mic.
I was going to ask, how many senators do you think aligned with your view yesterday?
There is no need to speculate because my speculation will be as good as your speculation. But what I can tell you is that I understand the logic. You know, people are facing primaries, people are lobbying and all that. So some people are strong, some are worried. That's not important. If majority makes a decision, provided that decision does not conflict with the Constitution, I don't care. So it's not about whether I think my motion could have scaled through or otherwise. No. But Nigeria, the beauty of democracy, why that section 70 is inserted, is that when they say aye, nays, you can't hold your senator responsible for it. You say I wasn't one of them. I want Nigeria to say, who are those senators who are trying to narrow future leadership to themselves, as if it's a family or traditional rulership. And for me, that is not it. Now, let me say why this thing has serious moral crisis. The Senate president became minority leader on his first day in office. On his first day, when they swore in, on his first term, when he got into the Senate, I think in the ninth or eighth Senate, right? He became a principal officer, minority leader. He's not the one presiding and asking us to change those rules such that even somebody who had done one term, particularly if you came to the court, you can't even be. Number two, as we speak today, the Senate president has not done 8 years in office. Even if you count the previous one plus the current one, it's not yet up to 8 years. So if we pass the rules that you must do 8 consecutive years before you can be Senate president, it means he has to lead by example by vacating. Because he's presiding without acquiring the appropriate qualification. But more offensive to me is that as leaders who are product of bylaws, we mustn't make laws to perpetrate anyone. Senator David Mark had the honor and privilege of serving as Senate president for 8 years, not by playing with the rules. Those rules that enabled David Mark to preside for 8 years, what is wrong with them? Those rules that enabled this Senate president to contest for Senate presidency, what is wrong with them? Why changing it now? Because you think that next time, because last time, this rule of what term, ranking, that's what you require. And it turned out to be the only one from the South, where it was zone 2. So now he feared that more senators will be eligible, which will broaden the competitive base. And now he wants to shrunk it. If other people are afraid, I'm not afraid. I am only afraid of my creator. Because I've seen whether you tell the lie, you tell the truth, the date of death, you can't adjust it either forward or backward. That is my life experience.
The rescission, does it help you?
It's not about me. First, let me say the whole kernel of today's rescission is that he's saying we shouldn't make rules that are in violation of the Nigeria Constitution. Because evil law, if it violates the Constitution, you legislate in vain. Or the act becomes invalid to the extent of the contradiction. Now, go and look at, I think it's section 52 of the Constitution as to how you can become a Senate president or deputy Senate president. It simply says, upon proclamation, senators-elect shall meet, and the clerk of the National Assembly will conduct the election into the office of Senate President and Deputy Senate President. That is the Nigeria Constitution. So you cannot make rules, but you can involve a culture, say, okay, maybe we need an experienced person. But even at that level, I will say, if he has enough experience to be a minority leader without previous one-day legislative experience, if he has the experience to be elected as Senate President after just 4 years, and he will tell you he's presiding well, and we have also said he's presiding well, why does he think that 4 years is no longer enough? That you must do 8 consecutive years? The other one that is extremely provocative is to say that even people who have been in the Senate before, who are even senior to the Senate President in terms of ranking, they done 2 terms and they left Either they were voted out, or they contested for executive position, or they were appointed as minister like himself. When they now come back, they are not considered as ranking. Here, if you want to speculate, because I had the question about this other guy, is that he's looking at, for example, if the former deputy Senate president was to win election in Delta, Senator Mwagege, because he is not in this session, in the 10th Assembly, he will not be eligible. What is special about being in the 10th Assembly? Then, even David Mark, if he was to be, even after all his previous, because he's not the 10th Assembly, he will not be eligible. What is special about the 10th Assembly? Then Okowa, a former senator before he became governor, if he decides to contest, and I hear he's contesting, if he wins and he chooses to vie for the presidency of the Senate, what the leadership of the Senate was trying to do was to use these dubious, I use the word dubious cautiously, intervention in the rules to disqualify them. Why are you afraid? Hope Uzodinma is the one the newspaper seems to focus on. But because you don't know the whole ramification of the law. Now, tell me why you will say, as journalists, for example, that if you were editor 4 years ago, and you left to go and do, maybe, just as an example, to go and do PhD, so you left broadcasting, or even to do some other things, and then you come back, then you apply for a job, and they're looking at your CV, and you will proudly say, I was editor of Channels Television or Arise TV. I was actually reporting from the National Assembly. They will say, oh, those past experience doesn't matter. Once you have left for you, and you are coming back. Who does that? Those should count in your favor, not against you.
Will you still come back with emotion?
Pardon?
Will you still come back with emotion?
First, I'm happy that on their own today, they have revised based on the provision of the Constitution. But only in part. There is still a substantial debts that are illegal and that is completely in adherence with the provisions of the Nigeria Constitution, which we are not at liberty to amend.
So
do you feel shortchanged yourself?
No, it's not about me. Don't restrict it to me.
I know.
I told you I'm contesting for office. What I am contesting for is the president, is the seat to represent the people of Edo North. Any other thing is not my right. It's a privilege that can only be conferred by fellow colleagues.
Thank you, sir.
And lastly, I respect ranking, but the Constitution of Nigeria does not put weight. And no matter what you want to think of yourself, it is only to the extent that it's in conformity with the express provision of the Nigeria Constitution. So all of these things will not matter. Best example, when some people supported him, and I was one of those who supported him. Ironically, I was one of those who supported him, even as a first-timer, against Senator Yari. They interpreted that Yari's first term was in the House of Rep, and therefore he's not ranking. Okay? But ranking contested that election. If he got majority, he would have won, because whatever they were saying is inferior in the face of the extra provisions of the Nigeria Constitution. I just think that you, the media, that is how Africans become live presidents. Let me just give you my interview. Let me go. You know, with that of Cameroon, you see